Welcome to another episode of The Latest with Maya. Today, I am so honored to have a conversation with Jan Broberg. Jan is an actress, singer, dancer, and a kidnapping survivor. The miniseries A Friend of the Family is based on her story. Thank you so much for being on my show. I am so excited to be talking with you.
Thank you, Maya. I'm really glad to be here. It's a real honor. Thank you.
Well, I am so honored to be talking with you. So, yeah.
Well, you know what? I guess that's the mutual thing. When you've been through something really hard as a child, like you have and I have, I think you just have an extra special amount of love and grace and like you want to cheer another person on and kind of cheer yourself on at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Um, so, what small things bring you joy on a daily basis?
Oh gosh, I think the thing that I usually wake up to is my dog Toby, who's usually
Oh,
on my bed, and he jumps off the bed sometimes because I move around too much, but always when I wake up for some reason he always knows, and he's back up on my bed, and he's snuggled right next to my backside usually because I sleep on my side, and just reaching down and just feeling his little soft hair. He's a Yorkie, a silky, so he has really, really fine, pretty hair. Just that softness, just that pure, unconditional love from my little dog. And I've had many dogs. I've rescued a lot of dogs over my lifetime, and that's one of the things that I have often found just pure, joy. I mean, there's times when it's hard to be a dog owner and to do all the things that you need to do to, make sure your dog is healthy, and you walk them and clean up after them, and he gets pretty furry sometimes. I do lots of showers and bath and all those things, but it's really worth it. And I've found that the things that we do put time and energy into are, generally speaking, the biggest payoff as well, and that's one of them. Another thing that brings me joy is I love the morning. I love to open my blinds in the morning and look out at the sun. And sometimes I'll go down on my front porch and just stand on the cold, wet cement pavement. Um, I like the feeling of that, of being grounded, and the cold pavement grounds me. And I do my little sun salutation or whatever, but just to count my blessings. I think that's become one of the things that I depend on most, is to look at every day and find something to be grateful for. I've kept a gratitude journal for a long, long time. So, it's down to looking for something new that isn't in that already. So might be something, oh gosh, I'm grateful for, concrete in the morning. Sounds funny, but that's true.
Yeah.
And then, other things are my family members and the people that are around me. That, of course, always is such a plus, and when they're doing well, it's just really a wonderful thing to have the relationships that I do. I'm really lucky.
Oh, I love that.
Thank-
Yeah. Um, so if you had to pick any character in a book, movie, or TV show who is most similar to you, who would you choose and why?
Hmm. Well, it's interesting because I loved reading Nancy Drew when I was younger. And I found when I was in at university in the acting program, I played a character. Her name was Trixie True, teen detective. And I had so many people that said, "Well, you didn't have to act in that one. That was just like you," because she was what Trixie True based, it was a spoof on a musical, but it was based on the Trixie Belden stories and the Nancy Drew stories. So Trixie True, rhymes with they kind of put that character together, and she would be making a pineapple upside down cake to take to the school bake off while she was tapping out a code with her tap shoes in Morse code because there was a submarine that needed to be stopped that was going to hit the thing. And I am a multitasker. So I think I related a lot to that character. I did have another person one time tell me, several people actually, when that movie of with Michelle Pfeiffer that came out called One Fine Day.
Oh yeah.
And she was juggling being a single mom and trying to do everything. And, and I had a lot of people call me and go, wow, she got your role. That was like watching you, Jan.
Oh,
So I guess I'm famous for my multitasking and for always trying to accomplish probably more than I need to or than I should because I tend to not sleep enough and take care of myself enough, but I really do enjoy, I relate to characters that are up to something in the world, and I've tried to be up to some good things in the world through my life. So
oh, I love that.
thanks.
Yeah. So who has had the biggest impact on the person you have become?
Wow, one person, so many people that I could give so much credit to. Of course, in my early years, my early childhood, I had a wonderful mother and father. And my dad was somebody who always could find the positive, and he would tell you, he would always compliment you and point out the good things and tell you, call you funny. What we laugh at them, and we still use these funny names today. Like one of them was, okay, doll, love, sweet, precious jewel, woman of destiny, tell me what you're up to today. He would do something really like these long titles and it would make us laugh, but it also made us like believe in ourselves and know that we were seen as very special, as people who could do great things. My sisters and I, we really adored our dad, and we learned a lot about gratitude and about positive attitude and how it seemed to come so easy for him. And as I've gotten older, I've really realized it doesn't come easy. You have to work at it. And that's had a huge impact on my life. I know that gratitude, I learned a lot from my dad about that. I learned a lot about forgiveness from my mom. And not only because of the experiences that she went through and I went through with the kidnappings and the brainwashing and the, sexual assault that I went through and what she went through with Berchtold, with that predator that I had to survive, and she did too because he groomed all of our family members. But she helped me learn that we could move past our mistakes, and that she was able to do that by doing her religious repentance or whatever. But that forgiveness is what frees us to move forward. So I'd have to say it's my two parents. I've also learned an awful lot from my son Austin, because I was a single mom and I got up in the morning for him, and I've learned a lot about how to love and how to work hard at being unconditional in your love, and how to see past the flaws and the hard times, and look forward to good times and to better times, and to just keep going, to have some grit and some you know substance as a human being to move forward. So I don't know, my sisters, Karen and Susan, my best friend, Caroline, I've learned so much from so many people. It's really hard for me to just pick one. But my dad's probably had the biggest influence, and my mother too, because we worked together on writing the books and doing the project. And without her, I never would have found my way out of the abuse and the telling of my story. She really is the one that wrote the book. That's the truth.
Wow, that's incredible.
Mhm.
And yeah, you have been just such an inspiration to me. And I just think it is incredible how you've been able to tell this story and like help other people and like make, I don't know, like make a show from your story. And I think it's just incredible everything you're doing.
Thank you. I'm really proud of A Friend of the Family on Peacock. That series, that scripted series with all those amazing actors playing all of our parts, playing our family and the people playing, the other family, and all of them were so good. I mean, literally, we had such a great cast and crew, and the writers and the showrunners and the executive producers, and everybody really wanted to tell the story in the context that would allow people to understand, like to see maybe something that they might miss, to see the psychopathy of a predator and how they groom and how they look like everybody else. They don't look like a scary stranger. They look like somebody in your home, in your family reunion, in your uh, theater group, or in your school classroom, or there is somebody that's respected in the community, and they don't look like they're dangerous. They don't look that way. They look just the opposite, and that's why they groom everybody to trust them and to like them, and they're so wonderful, and you don't see it coming. You don't know. And so I really appreciate that, because I'm really proud. I mean, I have two documentaries, Abducted in Plain Sight on Netflix, and then A Friend of the Family, True Evil is another documentary on Peacock. But then the scripted series with the real actors that are Academy Award winners, and they're phenomenal. That's A Friend of the Family, just that one, and it's 9 episodes. And I'm telling you, I really am proud of having told the story in a way that gives context. It's not just one headline after the other, it's the whole story. And my parents were so honest about their mistakes, and my sisters and friends were so supportive in helping me, move the story out there into the world and tell it, so that we might maybe help protect, another family or some other kids, because we're just vulnerable. We were very vulnerable, and they know how to spot that and take advantage of that. So I'm proud of that. Thank you for watching it, all 9 episodes.
Yeah. Yeah, it was so well done. And yeah.
Thank you. I feel the same way. I feel like everybody ought to watch it just before you go out of the hospital with your new baby or whatever. It has to be required, so people will know, because I think people really want to believe that it's somebody scarier that they would know, but you
Yeah.
don't know. You don't
Yeah.
know. The predator is somebody familiar, somebody friendly, somebody that
Yeah.
looks trustworthy, and yeah, so that was my goal in telling my story, was to do all those things. And then I started a foundation to try and help other survivors, tell their stories, find peer-to-peer support, find some healing modalities. And I'm working on that right now, is in the Jan Broberg Foundation. So hopefully we can make an impact, in these next later years of my life.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Um, so, what do you wish people better understood about you?
Um, Well, I think one of the things that in telling your story, you know, people, they know the story from your childhood till about age 16. I would like people to know the rest of my story. So I would like them to know how I healed, and how many times I crashed and burned in relationships, and how I pulled myself out of it, and how I, miscarried and didn't have, the big family that I wanted, and the marriages that I wanted, the marriage, that it was a hard journey. I think I'd like people to know the rest of the story, and how you have to keep fighting. You can't stop. You get to a certain point, and you're very grateful to have healed a lot, and what's behind you and in your past, and to be able to use that to maybe help other people. But you yourself have to continue to find your way, to figure out how to be, you know, whole, like whole and complete. And it takes something. There's a journey in that. And I wish that people knew the rest of the journey, because I think a lot of times people just think, oh, okay, well, that's over. So she's fine. Everything's good. And everything is fine. But life has continued to give me many challenges. And I just want to be that inspiration of hope. So that's one of the things, is that I wish people knew more of my story. I think people maybe don't know how colorful my life has been. And so I think that's something that, I want people to know. I'm a very open-minded person. I'm a very non-judgmental person. I'm somebody that has a lot of people from a lot of walks of life that have been a part of my world and my life. And that's really important to me. And I really love people and humanity. And they don't everybody doesn't fit in a box. And I want people to know that I not only know that, but I love and accept and welcome people into my life that don't fit the mold.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Um, so what has been the biggest obstacle you've overcome?
I think the thing that's been probably the hardest is coming back into my own confidence. I think when you go through abuse and brainwashing, grooming, um, and maybe any kind of really serious trauma in your childhood. I was a very happy, confident, carefree girl from birth to 12 years old. And then throughout those 4 years of being kidnapped and brainwashed and sexually abused and assaulted, I something happens to you, and I just lost my confidence. I lost my not my zest for life. That was always still there. Somehow that part of me just was so strong that you're going to get through this. You can do this. Your life is worth it. You're worth it. But I think the confidence has been the hardest thing for me to come back into, having the kind of confidence that allows me to walk into a room and know I'm worthy of being there, that I am an equal to, people that maybe I've always admired, or I've always wanted to do what they do. And I have that confidence now. I can be in pretty much any situation and know that I belong there. And so that sense of belonging and that sense of confidence came back to me, but I had to fight for it. I had to work on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think it's yeah, amazing that you've uh overcome that. And sorry, I'm trying to figure out words in my head and they're not coming out of my mouth. But yeah, so yeah, I think it's just amazing that yeah.
You. Thank you. I bet you probably have some of those same. I feel like that's probably something similar when you go through a lot of physical trauma and trials and all the things that you went through. Sometimes it can really eat at your confidence.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely.
Well, you're doing great.
Thank you.
Yes, good. Yeah.
Thank you. Um, so of all that you have accomplished so far, is there something you are most proud of?
Wow. Something went down the wrong pipe. I swallowed wrong.
I hate when that happens.
Me too. And it won't leave. There's
Mm,
nothing that won't tickles.
yeah.
Um, I think something I'm most proud of is that I had the courage to that I have the courage to get back up and try again. I think I'm most proud of that. And that relates to being a mother. I feel very proud of being a mother to my son, and that I have gotten up and tried again when I've made mistakes, or when I've worried that I made all the wrong choices or I did it all wrong. And yet I was able to get up and try some more, try again, and encourage him to do the same. So I think I'm really proud of myself being able to have the courage when everything is never a straight line. It's not like you go from, okay, well, that part's over, and now we just go straight on to success, you know? It's not like that. And I think it takes a lot of courage to to keep going and to try again, when things, maybe they're going well, but they didn't quite go as far as you wanted them to. So now I'm working on projects to tell the rest of my story and to have the courage to be really honest about all my own mistakes and how I've overcome those things and what it's led me to becoming today. And there's still a lot left for me to learn and a lot more growth I'm sure that I will have. But I think to have courage to try again when you are discouraged. I'm proud of that about myself.
Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah, you should be proud of that. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Um, so I am pop culture obsessed and go in stages of shows that I cannot stop watching. Um, is there a show that you are currently obsessed with?
Yes. And it's taken me a few years to catch the vision or the time to sit down and watch it. But I heard so much about Abbott Elementary.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I know the style and how it's filmed, and I'm like, oh, I don't know. It's just, they're elementary school teachers and I'm not sure. And oh my gosh, it is so funny and so tender sometimes and so real. And I one time when I was trying to figure out how to make enough money to survive, and I was a single mom and I was living in Los Angeles, I went and got a substitute teaching credential so that I could substitute teach in the LA Unified School District. And I got a teaching job where, and again, I wasn't a trained teacher. I was there as an actress and I wanted to get my story told and all these things. I didn't know how, I knew how to act, but I didn't know how to get in the room to audition. I still don't really know how to do that. Really good actress. And so I knew I wanted to do that. And I had my little boy. And he was probably 6 or 7 at this point. And I ended up getting this certificate that I could be a substitute teacher because I spoke Spanish and English. And I ended up with a kindergarten class that was half Spanish speaking only and half English speaking only. And there was 32 kids, about 16 and 16. And no assistant, no TA, teacher's assistant, nothing, just me and 32 kindergartners who'd never been to school before, who couldn't communicate with each other. And I was trying to flip back and forth between Spanish and English, and and oh my gosh, I just remember thinking to myself, I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to be able to do this job. But I did. I did do it. I did the job. And the reason I was a long-term substitute was the teacher she was pregnant and she had an ectopic pregnancy or something that she had to stay in bed. And so I ended up going from just going to be teaching there for maybe a week or two to teaching there for like 7 months. I mean, a long time. And I learned so much from that experience. And yeah, that was a big one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah. I
Yeah.
actually spent time in Guatemala. That's where I learned Spanish. I was a missionary and I I spent a couple of years in Guatemala. And so my Spanish is pretty good. I've often thought maybe I should audition for like I don't know, a show that speaks English and Spanish because I just love both languages so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. So what are the songs that make you sing along whenever you hear them?
Oh, I just heard one today in the car, and my son and I were driving, and it was uh oh, what's the song? Austin, what was the name of that song that we were singing to? Piano Man. That's what it was. That's what it's called. Give me a piano man. You bring me a song today. Whatever the words are, I can never remember when I have to sing it by myself. But when it's on the radio, we just belted it out, and it was just so fun. I love that song. And I was like, man, to be able to write a song and play the harmonica and the piano and have it last for generations, like it's inspiring. Like sometimes what we just need is a good song, like the Piano Man could bring that melody, back into our life when life gets too hard. And it kind of made me choked up. I kind of got teary even singing the songs. I'm like, wow, it's really important that we sometimes have like songs in our arsenal to change our mood and make us feel better. I love every empowerment song ever written.
Yeah.
Anything that has to do
Yeah.
with, I will survive,
Yeah.
I remember that singing that one clear back in high school. And I loved it. And then any of the songs, like, oh my gosh, I'm so bad with names. I'm so terrible, but I know so many songs. I just have to sing them. But the one about um this is my fight song. My
Yeah.
right song. I can't think of the name of
Yeah.
the song, but I
Yeah.
love.
Fight song.
Yeah, okay, fight song. I love that song. And I
Yeah.
wake up and not just sing, but then I start to dance. I'm a pretty good dancer. I can sing it really good with the rest of them. I'm like, you just think that I'm old, but you watch me dance. You won't know. You won't know.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
love
I
that.
love to dance and sing. Yeah, fun.
Yeah. I love to I can't sing or dance, but I love to do both. So
Hey, and I hope you do them anyway.
yes, I
Good.
do. There was once in like I was in a store with my mom and a song that I loved came on the speaker and I just started singing in the middle of the store. I did not care that there were people around.
That sounds like me. I truly have done the same thing. I have sang and then just danced up and down the aisle, and people are like, is she crazy? I'm like, a little.
Yeah.
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 Great for
Yeah.
you, Maya.
Yeah. I love that.
Too. Me too.
Yeah. Um, so if you had a warning label, what would yours say?
Hmm. Highly emotional, extremely opinionated when it comes to certain subjects in politics, and endless energy.
I love those.
Okay, good.
Yeah. I think those are good ones.
Those are warning labels. Yep, for sure.
Yeah. Um, yeah, so, do you have a go-to comfort show or movie that you just turn on when you want to tune out the rest of the world?
Oh gosh, several things that I love. I do love old musicals, and I know at Christmas time, my sister, and if I'm with both my sisters, we all love to watch It's a Wonderful Life. We love that movie just because it reminds you once again that you do make a difference, even if you don't know it. And sometimes you don't. You don't really know. You hope that you've done a few things that have made a difference in somebody else's life, but you don't really know until you're really down and out. Like, anyway, I just love that. I just, of course, I love Jimmy Stewart, and I love that movie just because it reminds you that as bad as something can get and as hard of things as you go through, and you lose people in your life like he did, and and lost the money, and or thought he did, and just all the things that at the end of the day it really comes down to how I treated the other human beings in my life, the one-on-one time with people. Was I kind? Was I forgiving? Was I loving? Did I bring some happiness, hope, you know, um, into their lives, or shine a light, on the path to healing, whatever it is. And so I like movies that show you, how dark and despairing life can be, and then how much your life actually matters, even though you feel like maybe it doesn't. And so I love that one. That's one of my favorite movies of all time. It's a Wonderful Life. And then I love musicals like The Sound of Music. I'm pretty corny when it comes to any musical, like My Fair Lady, Sound of Music, movie musicals,
Okay.
and certainly seeing shows on stage. And I've played pretty much all those parts too. I've played Maria in The Sound of Music, and I've played Eliza Doolittle, in theater and on stage. And I like not all musicals have great stories, but many of them actually really do. And those are two that I think have really good stories. And of course, when I did My Fair Lady, he didn't get the best of me. I took my shoes off and threw my shoes at him, and he knew he had to treat me right, or I wasn't going to stick around.
Yeah.
I think I'd be the weak woman that wouldn't walk out on the bastard.
Yeah.
So anyway, I
I
have
love
kind of
that.
my own, I take the storyline really seriously, and when I watch movies like that, I'm like, oh, I would change that. Oh, don't be so nice. Oh, don't just give in.
Yeah.
But then I also see very strong role models in a lot of movies that I like. So, you know, not that they don't have challenges, they do.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. Yeah,
Too.
I am obsessed with musicals.
Yeah. I love them. There was
Yeah.
that new musical that they did that's about the spirited
Oh,
spirit.
yes,
Is that what it's
Spirited.
called? Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
watched that again this
Oh,
last Christmas season. And I was like, I love this movie. I love this musical. I love this. It's so
yeah.
great. And
Yeah.
again, has that good point of, even the worst people in life can make a change, and can decide to do better and be different, and we there's good in a lot of 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 even really bad people. There is some good, and so trying to help them see the good and focus on the good, and maybe drop the bad stuff over time. I just really loved that. I thought that was super
Yeah.
fun,
Yeah.
musical. Movie
Yeah.
music. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites. One of my favorite movies.
So good. Made me feel so good. I was up dancing to that one, being
Yeah.
on my
Yeah.
sisters.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, we're singing and dancing, trying to do the dance moves, and then yeah, it was great.
I love that. Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't matter like what time of the year it is. I will just have like many songs from that soundtrack just on repeat on my playlist.
Yeah, so good. So
Yeah.
good.
It
Hmm.
is. Yeah. Um, yeah, so I just have one more question for you. Um, so I love inspiring and motivational quotes, and this week the one that spoke to me is a line from the song "Need You Like This" by Ben Platt, and it's hold your or um. I'm so sorry. I just
I love Ben Platt.
me too. He's one of my favorites.
Great actor, and oh, his voice. Oh, I
Yeah.
loved it. Loved it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
saw him on Broadway once.
That's incredible.
It's
He
great.
has always been one of my favorite artists, and I got to see him in concert when he came to Denver, and I was just like crying the entire time. I could not believe I was actually like seeing him live after wanting to for so long.
Oh, that's so cool. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So what was the quote in the song that you were about
Um,
to tell me?
so it's bite your tongue, draw a line in the sand, because you can't make a fist if you hold someone's hand.
Oh, isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, that's one of my favorite. I just am obsessed with every song of his, and
Oh,
this is one of my favorite lines.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love.
Is there a quotation that has inspired you lately?
Another song that has some beautiful lyrics in it and a beautiful message is that Idina Menzel song, At This Table. Like everyone is welcome. At this table, everyone is included, everyone is welcome, everyone is important, and it's such a beautiful message, such a beautiful song. And of course I love her too. You know, I love all these Broadway singers and stars that have inspired me through their music and through their singing, but through some of the most beautiful lyrics and most beautiful messages that I've ever heard, that I want to be that person, that at my table everybody's welcome,
Yeah.
you know, everybody feels important and included and heard. I want everybody in my world to be seen and heard. I want all the survivors out there to know, I believe you, I believe you, I believe you. And for me, one of my favorite, it's a little different. It's kind of on the sad side, but I think it's a really important quote, and it's anonymous. I don't know who. I use it all the time, but it's anonymous, so I can't give anybody the credit. But it says the sound of an abused child is silence. And for me to be able to let people know, listen for the silence, because they make no sound. And that's the problem. We want to get our voices, we want to raise our voices and raise the awareness. And that's what my foundation aims to do, is to prevent abuse by getting people to be more aware, to see things sooner than they normally do, and then also to prevent it with teaching people about grooming. And then the other part is to heal those who have been harmed, so the abuse doesn't cycle and get passed on, you know, to the next generation. So that healing piece of survivors. I have an online community and I have a podcast, and it's all for really for survivors and telling survivor stories and what survivors have done to become these inspirational heroes. Um, and there's a lot of inspirational people out there who've been through just the very, you know, hardest things in life. And so I get to interview people like that, and people who've written books and are authors or now they're therapists. You know, they're just really amazing. So yeah, it's you know, it's interesting because that's kind of my goal, is to get people to see what they don't see. So the scream of an abused child is silence. The sound or the scream is silence. And I want those silent screams to be heard. And so that's probably the quote that I use the most when I'm speaking, whether it's on a talk show or I'm in front of an audience at a conference, or when I'm going to sit down to try and write. Like I want to put together a television show that's many episodes that tell survivor stories, but with actors, and they combine the stories of a multitude of people that I've heard the stories from, and that will be kind of the tag of the show, you know. The scream of an abused child is silence. The sound of an abused child is silence. Let's listen. Let's hear the silence, and let's help people come forward and be able to tell their stories, and we'll believe them. We'll believe them and help them use their voice to heal, you know? So
Yeah.
that's mine.
Oh, that's so powerful. Yeah, that's such a powerful quote. And I wrote that song down too. I'm gonna listen to it. So
Yeah. Yes, please do. It's just incredible.
yeah. Yeah, I love Adina Menzel.
Gosh, isn't she great? Amazing. Oh, good
Yeah,
Lord.
yes.
Between
Yeah.
Beth and Idina Menzel, I mean, it's just like it doesn't get any better.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great singers, but oh, and I think they're both so good because they are also actors. They really believe their what they're singing and how they portray the lyrics through music. It's just so beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. Yeah. Um I don't yeah, use it lightly when I talk about Ben Platt, I say he like he is a like one of my heroes. And I don't use that word lightly. Like I think he's just incredible, and I've just I've loved him for the longest time.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's amazing with what if talent put in the right direction and talent that wants to make an impact and a positive difference, how they really do and can. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And you are one of my heroes too. So I it's just such an honor to be speaking with you.
Oh, well, thank you, Maya, for having me and for listening to me and my favorite things. And it was a really fun interview. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you. Yeah, I so appreciate you're joining me, and I have had the best time talking with you and getting to know you, and I can't tell you how honored I am.
Well, you're a survivor, girl. I know you are. And I love survivors. I love people that can go through the hardest things and they come out on the other side. And not that life is easy, not that it ever is like, oh, now it's all done and it's rainbows and unicorns every second, but that they've got that desire, that willpower to go forward and move on and keep going and get up and do it again. And I think that's who you are as well. So I just love people that I just love it when people do that. And so many human beings have to do that. And even if they don't have to, they do it anyway. I mean, so many could curl up in a ball and just be like, I give up. But I love survivors. I do. And I think you're incredible.
Oh, thank you. That means the world to me. I think you are incredible.
Thank you. Well, we will be the next cast of The Incredibles.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Sounds
like
like a
that.
plan. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, well, thank you so much again, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
You too. You too, Maya. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Mwah.
Thank you. Um, and that's a wrap on today's edition of The Latest with Maya.